Yo, what is going on, comic fans? And today we're going to be diving headfirst into a topic that's honestly been on my mind for a while lately. Magic. Yeah, I'm talking about Ilya Rasputin, the teleporting, sword wielding sorceress extraordinaire that I have honestly been growing more and more attached to as of the recent, honestly, years. If we're just talking about the fact of the movie that she was in a while back that I actively did enjoy somewhat. And if we're just talking about Marvel Rivals, she has been honestly a favorite character of mine, really just starting since then. And she is one of the most underrated characters in Marvel's entire large roster, but at the same time, I honestly and genuinely think that she would be way too powerful for the MCU to ever possibly think of handling. By the end of this video, you'll honestly see why me thinking this and why adapting her would be a massive challenge and why it would be best that they don't try, but if they do, they probably still could somehow make it work, the same way that Marvel usually does whatever they want to do. But let's just break it down. First of all, let's get everybody caught up, just in case you guys don't know. Magik, aka Ilya Rasputin, is the younger sister of Colossus from the X-Men. Obviously, most people, as I've already said in another video that I literally just made about her, most people would know him from the X-Men specific, kind of related thing of Deadpool and his entire 3 movies and all of that. So we're already familiar with at least one of the characters that she's actively related to, and really could just be an interesting kind of dynamic seeing how that would work. But she first appeared in Giant-Sized X-Men #1 as a minor character, but eventually became a central figure in her own right. Raised in Russia, Ilya's life takes a wild turn when she's kidnapped and dragged into Limbo, a demonic dimension ruled by the sorcerer Belasco. While in Limbo, she trains in sorcery and eventually overthrows Belasco, becoming the ruler of Limbo herself. But this is just scratching the surface of her character. Magik's journey is a mix of tragedy, empowerment, and some seriously dark storytelling that I absolutely adore. She is a mutant, a sorceress, a queen of a hellish dimension, and honestly so much more. So basically, she's got layers, like an onion. But besides that, we can honestly skip to something else that you probably should obviously know. Her powers and ability. And with this, buckle up, because Magik's powers are absolutely insane. First off, she's got teleportation, but this isn't just your standard run-of-the-mill, oh yeah, teleportation. She uses stepping discs that can teleport her across space, time, and even dimensions. Need to travel to the past, future, alternate, she's kind of got you covered within a good portion of a lot of things. And then obviously, there is other thing where it kind of transfers here and takes a pit stop into Limbo, which is all in a thing in itself. But we obviously have her sorcery, and she is easily one of the most powerful magic users in the entire Marvel universe, in rivaling Doctor Strange even. And that would be a very interesting dynamic to see playing out in the MCU, seeing how her magical abilities just honestly range from summoning demons to casting spells that can reshape so many different things. Her being in the MCU would be an absolute oddity and very interesting to say the least. But let's not forget one of the most signature things about her, the soul sword that she has, which is her signature weapon. This mystical blade that amplifies her magic and can disrupt other magical beings or spells. So basically, if you're up against Magik, I wish you the best of luck, because, it's going to be absolutely irritating no matter what you possibly try to do. But with all of that said and kind of getting everybody, caught up, let me actively discuss why I specifically think that she is way too powerful for the MCU. So, let's activate it. Well, to start off, let's kind of go with the fact that her abilities are on a larger scale than a lot of things that we would really be thinking of. MCU's already struggled to balance characters like Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, without making them feel extremely overpowered, and Magik probably would have the exact same problem on a very much different level. Her teleportation alone could break some of MCU's narrative structure. Imagine a character who could literally just travel anywhere between, space, time, dimensions, and it's really impossible for writers to stakes to, conflict around someone that could really do and has so much freedom. Then there's obviously the connection to Limbo, and the MCU has really only recently started dipping their toes into a lot more of the mystical side of Marvel, specifically with Doctor Strange and WandaVision, and introducing a character who is the ruler of a hellish dimension full of demons. There's extremely a large pile of complexity right there, and specifically, with the way that their storytelling is usually kind of going and the way that they're usually messing up a lot of these minor characters or messing up a lot of just major characters in general, the dark tones of her stories would probably be a very big issue for that. And honestly, speaking of it, it really wouldn't just match the entirety of the MCU's tones of stories, because let's be real, the MCU thrives on its blend of action, humor, and hope. Magik's backstory, on the other hand, is basically the exact opposite. It's like dark, and I mean really dark. One, she's kidnapped as a child, manipulated, and forced to grow up in a demonic dimension. Even when she escaped, she is haunted by her time in Limbo and her struggles with darker impulses. And her stories and themes really just tackle trauma, morality, and corrupting influence of power. It's like really heavy stuff. And while the MCU has touched on darker themes before, specifically, obviously, like, very specific characters and the way that they've done a couple things, the Magik's narrative is really a little much for that family friendly tone that we're usually used to getting. And obviously, as I said, we have gotten a movie introducing her before, in which she quite literally states that she has killed over 18 people, and they do quite a lot more darker and more gruesome stuff. So with a movie like her, there's literally no possible way for her to be like a PG-13 movie unless you're just really diminishing a lot of the scale of her kind of character would be able to do. And obviously we have Deadpool, which they've already had be put into an R-rated rating, which is honestly quite close to what we would need for someone like Magik, unless we're just like toning it down, as I said. And if we're really comparing her to MCU characters, we kind of have to think of like Scarlet Witch, which is a very close parallel, because both are immensely powerful, both have extremely tragic backstories, but even Wanda's journey was toned down so much in the MCU, and she is still considered overpowered by many fans. But let's be honest, again, they really did screw up her character as time was going on. And yes, we had WandaVision, which is an absolutely amazing show, but once we get into things like Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, where they started messing up and kind of ruining her character a lot more, and just really not knowing how to use someone that powerful, I would just not want that kind of same situation to happen to a character that I've honestly been growing more and more attached to as time has been really coming along. And her really just kind of entire character being thrown into the mix of like the entire MCU narrative and the entirety of the MCU power structure would make Wanda's powers honestly sometimes look tame in comparison. And obviously, plus like her role as the ruler of Limbo introduces an entirely new layer of cosmic and magical lore to the MCU that they haven't just really tiptoed enough in or are truly equipped enough to handle. And don't get me wrong, if this was older MCU, I could probably see them being able to do things like this. But with the way that their narrative has been going, with the way that a lot of their stories haven't been hitting the same as they used to, I just feel like adding a character like her is a fan favorite to a lot of people that probably don't even obviously have a lot of people like to talk about with her, because not many people know about her. It just really would be a very big bad thing to just see her character be brought onto the big screen in a good view. Obviously, again, we had the New Mutants come out like with that movie, but that movie wasn't really enjoyed by many people, and I might be one of the only people that actively truly enjoyed that movie just for the love of it and just for the laugh of it and just for like the entire characters of it. But really just seeing how the MCU would be kind of dealing with this, I don't want to know exactly what that would even look like, because if the MCU did ever decide to bring in Magik, they'd have to scale her powers way back. And I've already said this. Maybe her teleportation is limited to Earth, or sorcery isn't fully developed yet. They'd also need to simplify her connection to Limbo and downplay the darker aspects of her backstory. But the thing is, toning down her character would just really strip away what makes Magik such a unique and compelling character. She's powerful, yes, but her complexity and her struggles are what really makes her so fascinating. Diluting that just for the sake of fitting into the MCU would be such a disservice to the character that I just really don't want to see that kind of treatment done to a character that's so incredible. The same thing with honestly a good couple other characters. The way that we got a lot of the characters in Multiverse of Madness again introduced, like Reed Richards, like Professor X, like literally Captain Carter, or all of those characters that were brought in. We see them being put in and then almost immediately just not even being used to their full capabilities and just kind of literally obviously just used as cameos or just short people to be put in the movie just for whatever reason. I want her to be actually, flushed out and be made in the best way possible. But it really just kind of brings me to the big question that I even have. Should Magik actually even be brought into the MCU? Like, honestly, I'm torn. On one hand, seeing her on the big screen and being done actively, decently good would be amazing. On the other hand, MCU might not be the best place for her. Her character thrives in the more dark, more mature stories that explore the complexities of power and morality. A standalone movie or a limited series on a platform like, Disney Plus or might actually be a better fit. And while obviously technically that is still the MCU, seeing her in that kind of light instead of the way that they're probably gonna just start as time goes along, changing up her character and just messing it up and messing it around would be a little hard to swallow. But with all of that said and done, that's honestly just my thoughts. And if you honestly want to get a deeper dive into Magik's character and story, here are some must-read comics that I'm just going to recommend for you, just in case you didn't know who Magik was, or want to kind of get and catch up a little more and understand her a little bit better. The first one, Uncanny X-Men issue 160, where it really gets the first glimpse of her in Limbo, and really just kind of sets a little better stage there. Next is Magik, Illyana, and Storm, which is a 4-issue miniseries that dwells into her transformation into Limbo. And then obviously next is New Mutants, which is the 1980s through and 2009 revival. These runs explore her as a member of the New Mutants and her struggles with her darker side, which is a very crucial thing about her character, as I've said so many times. And then finally would be Ex Infernus, which is a limited series that focuses on her reclaiming her place as the ruler of Limbo, which is honestly a very interesting read. And if you guys would like me to talk about any of these specific comics in deeper, actual full, just talking about this in a full video alone, let me know. But these comics do just showcase the full range of Magik's character, from her tragic backstory to her badass battles. So I would honestly suggest that you guys give them a read. But with all that said, in truthfulness, Magik is honestly just an incredible character, but she is just a complicated one at that. Her powers, backstory, and her darker tone make her a very tough fit into the MCU's current formula, but maybe that's okay. Not every character needs to be adapted, and Magik just might be one of those characters who's better left on the comics, where her full character can be explored. But let me know, what do you think? Do you think the MCU could handle Magik, or is she just better staying off in the pages of Marvel? Let me know down in the comments below. But with all that said, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys can get more deep dives into the world of superheroes and everything else like that. And if you guys did enjoy, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next video, and make sure, to keep loving the heroes that we all care about so much. But peace.